Now we know how to create views and controllers in AngularJS. It's time to discuss about the third component of MVC, and you know what? It's model. We know model is a data for our application, and this is gonna be the simplest concept to understand after considering the previous lesson's knowledge. As the title of this lesson clearly suggests, we can use JavaScript to create our models. But the question is, where to create it, right? And the obvious choice for creating model is controller, as a controller is a component which is associated with the view. So we can access model from controller using our controller instance. So suppose you are working on an employee portal, and using this application you can see the information related to the specific employee. So it's simple to find the model for this application. Yes, the model is gonna be employee. But to create this model, we need to have a controller first. So I have my HTML page here with custom module already created and associated with the HTML page. I'm going to create a controller using angular.controller function and name it app-controller and pass constructor function as second argument. So the controller is in place. Let's connect it using ngController directive and controller name as its value. And we will refer this controller in the view as app. So now this whole body element is controlled by my controller app controller. Now I'm going to use this controller and populate my employee model inside it. So I'm going to create a property, say employee, using this keyword. Now this is going to refer to this same controller and assign it an object using JavaScript object literal notation. This is our model. Now empty model is of no use, right? So I'm going to give it some properties and values. What do you think an employee is going to have? First name, say some first name, and last name, also some last name, and maybe we can have occupation. So now I can refer this model and render it in the view using controller as syntax. I'm in my controller. So I'm going to create a paragraph element, and this time I'm going to use double curly brackets to populate my model. These double curlies are also known as directive, and we use them to bind the values from models. So I'm going to use my controller to access the employee model and render its values in the view. So you can see I have created an expression here inside this curlies. I'm concatenating the values of employee model as string. So I'm going to run the application now. Cool. My view is painted with the model values. So you can see I have created my model inside controller and rendered it using controller instance and our new directive. So when you think of creating models, think of POJO. I mean plain old JavaScript objects.